What is up, guys? In today's video, I'm going to be going over some loot spots that are underrated that could help you get easier wins in Fortnite Chapter 6 Season 4. As always, if you guys do enjoy this video, find it helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, comment down below where your favorite place to land has been so far this season, and if you guys would like to use my code when getting anything from the item shop, it is EvolveJake, and it is underneath the webcam at all times. So, this is a type of video I make every season, and I have had lots of requests to make it so far this season, but one change I feel like that Season 4 has is with the addition of the OXR ranks, I feel like you are heavily incentivized to not land at an incredibly low-key spot. Last season, we had the hero ranks, and while you did get points for eliminations and stuff, you also got points just for surviving storm circles, and then you also got points for doing things like throwing the dog treat or whatever. It was easier to get points in a way that didn't require you to interact with other players. And then also with the hero ranks last season, it didn't seem like there was as much of a rush to get to the higher ranks. Whereas this season, the first players to get to A tier are going to be the first players to be able to open the exotic weapon bunkers. And the exotic weapons are all incredibly good this season. So when I'm playing, I want to get to A tier as fast as I can to get those weapons first, but I also think the medallions are very good this season. The two movement ones in particular are very much worth having, and that's another thing that makes me kind of less incentivized to land at like a low-key drop spot. Like how good these medallions are, I want to be relevant in getting them, and I also want to be relevant in getting to A tier quickly. Luckily, there are some locations that I think can still be good, like low-key, kind of safer landing spots than the boss locations, but also give you a good opportunity to get to A tier quickly, and also a good opportunity to get to the boss POI fast enough. And the first locations we're going to talk about are going to be the OXR shops. So I think these are among the best spots in the game right now. If you want a safer location, like I said, I feel like it checks all the boxes. It's pretty safe. It's not likely to be contested by like an absurd amount of people. And you still have a chance to get your hero ranks quickly, which we'll get to in a moment. And all of these are very near the medallion POIs. There's one outside Demon's Debris. There's one outside the Hive, kind of near where Flooded Frogs was. And then there's one outside Ranger's Ruin just above Canyon Crossing. So these three OXR shops are positioned in a perfect location to set you up to third party the boss location. Each of these locations also has 3 OXR chests, and the one outside Ranger's Ruin actually has 4 OXR chests. And the OXR chests are really good because you typically get high rarity loot from them. And also, I feel like you have a really good chance of getting the Shockwave Launcher or the Swarm Strike Rocket Launcher, both of which are 2 of the best weapons in the game right now. I don't always carry the Swarm Strike, but as far as mobility goes, I want the Shockwave Launcher every single game. So having a good opportunity to get this off spawn is going to give you an advantage in the game. And then they also have weapon cases at these shops where you can purchase loot with gold, but I don't really use the shops, and there are several chests and floor loot around the area. Every time I landed here, I was able to get a good amount of loot and feel like relevant in the game without having to worry about buying loot. One thing that's nice about these locations as well is that every match, 2 of these locations will be under attack from bugs. And if you clear out 15 bugs, which you could do pretty quickly, you will get a drop that comes down, which has pretty good loot in it, as well as a forecast boon, which allows you to see the next zone for the remainder of the game. So this gives you a huge advantage in a battle royale, always knowing where the next zone is going to be. Once you get later on into the game, knowing where the zone is going to be makes it much easier to play the end game. So getting that off spawn is great. The loot you're going to get from it is great, but you also get a good amount of hero points for doing this, which is going to give you more drops with even more loot, but also hopefully get you close or to A tier and allow you to open up those exotic weapon bunkers, faster than other people. I kind of touched on how important I think that is this season. These OXR shops having the aspect of, the clear out, when they're under attack from bugs, gives you a good amount of hero points. And the ones that are under attack every game are kind of denoted by a bug icon on the map where the shop icon would be. The shop icon is there to show where they are, but if it has the bug icon, that means it's under attack. And you can quickly clear out those 15 bugs, clear out the enemies in the area, obviously focusing on the enemies first. And then from there, what you can do is pad to one of the nearby boss locations, because I already touched on how all of these spots are near the boss POIs, right? Each of these spots also has a super launch pad there, which you can use to go get to the medallion location or very close to it. And you can do all this so fast that there's definitely potential you get there while the boss is still alive, but also maybe get there while the medallion player is still there and dealing with kind of the chaos of the bugs in the area. I feel like coming into the boss location, you have a decent advantage on the other player because of how chaotic those spots can be. So if you're able to get there when the boss is still alive, that's great. Hopefully you can eliminate the player, steal their boss kill, get all that loot and those hero points, and then go about your game. And with how good this season's medallions are and how good this season's exotics are, I think being able to have a relatively safe spot, which also kind of keeps you relevant and getting those medallions and has a good amount of hero points from getting the clear out forecast boon. These OXR shops have so many advantages going for them. And if you want a decent low-key spot to land to play for the win, I cannot recommend these OXR shops enough. And then just, third party, whatever boss location is nearest to you. So if you've been, not wanting to land at the boss locations, try out these OXR shops. I think you'll have a much easier time playing the game. And I'm now going to talk about a few other landing spots that I think are good. All of these I have covered in past videos like this in Chapter 6. As I said, I think these OXR shops are perfect. These other locations are more safe, but also run the risk of just like setting you at a massive disadvantage as far as hero points go, which isn't the end of the world if you don't care about getting exotics and you don't care about getting medallions. Some of these other locations can work for you, but I would recommend if you want to do well consistently, trying to get the medallions and trying to get the exotics. So the turtles are still on the bottom right of the map, and this has been a decent low-key landing spot for pretty much all of Chapter 6, I think. There's 15 potential chests here, and then also several slurp barrels that you should be able to use to get to full shield without having to use any of the healing items that you end up finding. And while this is on the edge of the map, there are actually several launch pads here, which you can use to then hit another pad that's at Outpost Enclave, and then from there you can go to the OXR shop we just talked about, maybe clean that up, maybe get forecast, and then take the launch pad to Demon Debris if you wanted. So these turtles are on the extreme edge of the map, but with how many launch pads are in this area, and those launch pads are guaranteed to be there, it actually doesn't need to play that slow despite it being on the edge of the map. So the turtles, I think, are still a fine landing location, but they're not as good as they were in Chapter 6 Season 2 because they don't have the guaranteed rare chest and they don't have the guaranteed elemental chest this season either. So Common Quartz is another location that's kind of in the same general area that I really liked last season, and it's okay this season, but I feel like it's hard to land here and loot up and still be relevant on the medallion. But there is 18 potential chests here, 12 slurp barrels, so you should be able to get full shield without using any of your heals, as well as like all the loot you get here should be fine. There are some potential car spawns out front, but what you can do if you find a launch pad throughout looting, you can pad to that OXR shop, again cleaning it up if you need to, getting more loot there from the OXR chest if you need to, or just taking the pad to Demon Debris and maybe getting to fight the medallion player. If it was slow there, maybe the boss is still alive, but I've found that a majority of the time I land at this Common Quartz area and loot it, it takes long enough to do that the medallion is kind of already, decided and that player is leaving or having already left the area. But if you are playing team game modes, maybe you can loot this tennis court area a little bit quicker and make that work for you. And as I said, if you don't care about getting the medallion, landing here, getting a relatively safe spot, and then maybe going to that OXR base nearby, if it's under attack and getting forecast, would be something that would definitely improve your chances of winning the game. And the final location I'm going to talk about, again, is a spot I've talked about several times in Chapter 6, and that is going to be the drainage area on the far right side of the map. This has been a solid landing spot for wins for all of Chapter 6, and not really much has changed with it this season. There's still a slurp truck here that you can use to get guaranteed 100 shield, and then there's 12 potential chest spawns, and with this being a smaller location, it can be looted somewhat quick. And one change that happened this season that will make this spot a little bit better is there is an OXR outpost on the road just outside of here, and it has 2 more potential chests and then a potential OXR chest. And as I talked about at the start of the video, those OXR chests seem to be really good odds of giving you a shockwave launcher or the Swarm Strike rocket launcher, both of which are very good. And then there is a nearby bunker here. It's unlikely that you will get to A tier from looting this location because there's just not enough people that land here for that to happen most of the time. But if you see the Hive medallion player kind of rushing over towards this direction, they may be trying to open this bunker, and so you could maybe kind of camp out at the bunker and wait for them. And I believe the bunkers themselves will actually have chains on them if they're not able to be opened. So even if you aren't A tier, you can kind of tell which bunkers are, you know, going to be able to be opened by other players and which ones aren't. So if I landed at the drainage area and it seemed obvious to me that the Hive medallion player was kind of on their way here, I might kind of just wait out that bunker and try to get a free elimination on them and get that medallion and maybe the bunker loot inside as well if they are able to open it. But that is going to be it for this video. As I said, though, I think those OXR shops are incredible landing locations. And if you want to get wins this season, if you want an easier start, but also you don't want to have a very passive game, I think the OXR shops are great. Let me know down in the comments below which location has been your favorite this season. If you found this to be helpful, informative, or interesting, remember to give it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.